What is going on, people? Happy Sunday. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Yesterday, I planned on live stream, but I had to go back up to my hometown, visit my parents, because my sister left her wallet when we went up there for Thanksgiving. And I'll tell you what, I don't know what it was. Like, I know it was the weekend after Thanksgiving, but traffic was atrocious. I mean, in order to get from where I'm at now to my parents, it usually takes about 55 minutes. All right, obviously that's with me like going like 5 miles over the speed limit. I think that's respectable. It's not too much, not too little. And it's usually just to keep up with the flow of traffic, just because people drive like maniacs anyways. But it legitimately took me about 2 hours and 10 minutes. I swear to God, it was dead stop traffic the entire time. It's ridiculous. But with that being said, let's jump right into the market. Get the TA out of the way first. Hold on, trying to figure out where I got everything at. Okay, here we go. And switch over to me. Hello. Let me turn the camera a little bit. This way? Yep, that way. All right. Fish, you gotta calm down. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. But we'll hop into the TA first. Just get that out of the way for anybody that's wondering. And then we can move on to the me. I want to give you guys a little update. My first 2 days after the diagnosis. But with that being said, let me go ahead and bring up the Bybit chart real quick, because I don't know if Bybit actually has put in a lower low. This is still Bitstamp. We'll go to Bybit. Okay, Bybit did within like the last couple of minutes, because I just checked this before I hopped on live stream. Okay, good to go. Oh, that sucks. That does suck. Let's see. It just surpassed an entry point. So right before I hopped on live stream, I was going to give an update in the Discord. I was either going to say, hey, if you guys want to be eager and play this ABC right here, you know, if we would have just put in a slightly lower low, but did not put in a lower low than about 53,561. But it looks like instead we got really what we wanted to see, which was an A and a B and a C right here. Hopefully some of you guys caught that entry, because that happened fast. Like, usually I give people a little bit of a headache when they go, I missed an entry. But that one, I can see a couple people might have just missed that. Because that happened within like 5 minutes. We wicked down there, and then we're already bet. Hey. He was getting crazy over his bone. He dropped it between the couch and the ottoman. All right. But that happened crazy fast within the time that I was setting up the live stream. So I don't blame you if you missed that. Hopefully, either one, you caught it, or two, when you go back down, you can catch the reentry, or three, if you do have to wait for it, I would recommend just waiting until we get back above the $55,645 level. So that's it for BTC. All right, so I'm taking a little bit of a different approach. I got stopped out a couple times, and then I kind of made the executive decision that I was using two trades. Both of them had 2% risk. One was on sushi, one was on BTC. And with that being said, obviously sushi is the higher R&R, and the account's just starting off. So if we are going to be a little bit more risky, I'm using 3% risk towards sushi, and I'm using 1% risk towards BTC. And unfortunately, during the period of time that I was kind of making that decision, we wicked down and I was setting up the live stream. So I actually missed this entry. So that kind of sucks. But, I mean, it would have been a 1% risk anyways. But on sushis, side, we are sitting pretty right now. I'm currently up 60% on sushi, on about 50% of my account. So we're up $770 right now on sushi, which is absolutely insane. And I posted this in the, I keep wanting to say Telegram group, Discord group last night. This little ABC pattern right here. Obviously, we've been taking pretty much every single one on the way down. So, I mean, we've been wicked out plenty of times, but I mean, probably less than 10. So to me, really doesn't make a huge difference. Already made back the money. And like I said, I do think that when this bottom hits, which could be right now, all right, because we have this small ABC kind of working itself out, we're seeing a lot of volume come in, trying to keep us above this line. Once we do get back above about 55,684, I think we'll be good to go. I think the first 2 weeks of December, 2.5 weeks of December, are going to be tremendously bullish, and they kind of have to be. Now, I'm not saying that December 17th is the absolute definitive date that we need to reach a top. We can obviously go a week or two past that, but I do think that this next push to the upside is the final push. I really do. That's just my personal opinion and kind of like anecdotal based on what the market has done in the past. If we have a bull market and the bull market is already kind of over and done with a little bit, by the time we reach December, we should have an official top by the end of December. But let's go ahead and take a look at ETH. ETH has been kind of just sitting along this line. Doesn't look like he would have gotten stopped out at all off of this entry right here at about 3,955. So it's not moving to the upside like everything else is, but the fact that you're kind of just sitting chilling, it's not a bad place to be. And then let's check on the LTC entry that someone pointed out the other day. That one is definitely working itself out. So this is the larger structure here, but you can see off of this smaller time frame, we first had this coming down, and you probably would have been kind of getting chopped up right here. But then off of that, we formed a C wave with an A, a B, and a C. So that could have been a new entry if you call it that. KDA slipped back below the level that we really wanted. But I would say if we came back above $15.87, that's when I'll be getting back in. I mean, you can kind of see right here, we had a fast A wave, fast B wave, and then a prolonged C wave. So within that, you can see A, B, C. And then is there anything else I really want to talk about right off the bat? Not really. Yeah, sushi is kind of what I'm primarily concerned with right now, because that's where most of my money's at. Actually, all of it right now. Unless we come back down, or if we come back above this level. How you guys doing? Gas station sushi. When is the Kite X Mercedes merch dropping? Never. Listen, I like the car, but I'm not gonna be that type of guy. Is 52K the bottom? I'm ready to go all in. Dude, I can't tell you if it's the bottom or not. It's if this then that statements. All right. So for me personally, as long as we're above 53,520, we're good to go to the upside. Now, obviously, with that being said, really we want to get back above the $55,172 level. All right. That's where it's going to be. And then as well as that, let's see. Sushi, I don't have a definitive target on it. I'm kind of just seeing where the wind takes us. All right, it's in the name. Kite. We go where the wind blows. All right. But I'm thinking if we're all the way down to, 54,000 on BTC, in this next wave, I'm thinking it's going to push us up to 75, 85, 90. That's a lot of ways to go. And obviously, we got a whole month to do it. So with that being said, I have no doubt that Sushi can at least put in a higher high than about $16. All right. I'm not saying it's going to go to the moon in terms of like its all-time high, because if we look at that, I don't know if it's on this chart. We can see it's closer to like the $25 mark that Sushi put in an all-time high. If it does get back up to that level, obviously that's going to be a monstrous trade. If Sushi gets back up to, let me see. Sushi can get back up to like $23. I would have turned $1,500, which is what the account's sitting at right now, into 21,000 in a single trade. And that would be absolutely monstrous. It looks like Sushi's spiking again. Let's see. Let me go back to this chart. Because we just jumped from $750 profit all the way up to 1,000. Is James Corden your brother / cousin? Dude, for a period of time, I would go on Omegle, which is just like a random chat site. Because, I don't know, I'll get bored. I just want to talk to people, see, how other people are living. And the amount of times I get called James Corden is ridiculous. Kite, I've been making some money with your strategy, more wins than losses, but I feel like feeling the imposter syndrome. I feel like I'm just getting real lucky. I would say you are, all right, because I'll talk to you with no shit, no lies. All right. If you're making more wins than losses, either one, you are very adept at waiting for the exact right place to get in, or you're getting really lucky. Because me, I'll take pretty much any ABC the market throws my way. Obviously, I prioritize the larger ABCs, but in cases like this, where we have a larger ABC, but we are so far away from the entry, I would really like to start playing smaller time frames in order to get the better entry and then play the larger structure to the upside. It sounds like you're getting really lucky. So, I mean, if you're doing really good, awesome, man. But, don't be too afraid when that time starts running out, because you will hit a loss streak eventually. I know somebody in my Discord group was saying they got stopped out like 10 times yesterday, which should not be happening. All right, let me go ahead and cover that. So they were playing BTC, and I'm assuming, I don't know what chart they were playing off of, but let's assume that they were playing off of BTC USD on Bybit, because obviously that's what most of the group is. All right. Right here, if they're playing the larger ABC structure and just that, because that's all there was yesterday, then your entry point would have been around 55,235. So given that fact, you would have gotten wicked into the trade, I would say like once, maybe twice. I would say like 3 to 4 times at the maximum. And of course, you would have gotten stopped out. So losing 4 times Obviously sucks, but we know what the end goal is. We're just trying to find an entry, and sometimes, you're mining for gold and you just hit dirt. But getting stopped out 10 times, if you're running into that issue, what that tells me is that, one, you're either taking what I'm saying as like gospel. I've been preaching that I do think the bottom is going to be coming within the next couple of days, and that the month of December is going to be very, very bullish. So some people, given that fact, will take that and run with it, and they'll just be entering long after long after long because they want that little bit better of an entry. So they keep getting stopped out with this choppy price action and just not taking the trades that need to be taken. Because what's the difference, right? If you enter here and you set up a 5% stop loss or 0.5% stop loss, and let's just say go back up to here. All right, that's a 17.81 versus right here, which is where you're really supposed to be entering. All right, you got a 15 versus a 17. All right, it's not that big of a difference, and it would have saved you a lot more money. All right, because here's the thing. You might make more money if you take the lower entry and the entry actually sticks, but you have to take into account how many times are you going to get stopped out in that choppy area versus getting stopped out if you're taking the entries where you're supposed to be taking them. All right, because if I'm getting stopped out 10 times using 2% risk, all right, that's 20% just about. All right, I did the math. If I'm using $2,000 and I lose, 10 times, it's a little bit less than 20%, but it's pretty damn close. All right, so you're losing 20% of your account versus 6%. But now when that fourth entry sticks, if it does, because you only lost 3 times, you have more money in your account, therefore making the 15 restored ratio actually worth more money than the 17 restored ratio, if that makes any sense. So if you're getting stopped out like that, all it really tells me is that you're being too impatient and not taking the correct entries. All right. Now, if you were using the Bitstamp chart, now a lot of people keep getting on my case about this with the past couple live streams. They go, why are you using the Bitstamp chart versus, Bybit? Just because in the past, the higher volume charts might show things that the, Bybit or Fimex don't show. So I want to have that. And also when I'm going back in time to like 5-10 years ago, it's just a quicker way to do it on the Bitstamp chart. So that's the main reason why. Now, if you were playing the Bitstamp chart and just kind of translating that into your entries on Bybit, all right, your entry would have been 55,178. So now let's go back to Bybit. And let's put a horizontal line at 55,178. All right. It's still pretty close. All right. Not that really big of a difference. And yeah, I can see that. All right. That one looks a little bit more. All right. You would have gotten stopped out here, 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 and here. All right. You would have gotten stopped out 4 times. Where's the other 5 coming from? All right. And on Sushi yesterday, the last place that you should have been into a trade was right here. All right. So for the past, 2 days, there was not an entry on Sushi. So you would have not gotten stopped out from Sushi, but rather just from BTC. And then if you're patient, you wait for the next setup. We got it. Boom. All right. You're patient. You wait for the next setup. Either one, we do come back above that line and we continue on, or we put in a new lower low and you can catch that entry right there. All right. And it's not about knowing that you're going to go put in a lower low. It's that if there is no move to make, you wait for the next setup that is either 1 existing or 2 needs to be created, and then you can react upon that. Hello, thanks, man. You helped me with your strategy to make money to be able to help my family. I would like to ask you how I can achieve 8 R&R because I can only go with 5 R&R. I don't quite get the question because there's nothing forcing you to take profit out of 5 R&R. Are you playing spot or are you playing derivatives? Because if you're playing derivatives, you know, you can take profit any time, and I mean, you can adjust your leverage to get a higher R&R as long as everything equals out. But you have to know, like, 5 R&R is not going to cut it. All right. If we, pop up the Kite RNG. Oh, it's not there. Kite RNG. 5 R&R is not going to cut it. And this is why it's important to understand the mathematics of trading. So, like, let's say we started out with $10,000 and our average R&R is only a 5 restored ratio trade. And let's say that we're winning 14% of the time. All right, let's say we're using 1% risk. All right, over the course of 200 trades, see, you lost money. You lost money. You lost money. You lost money. All right. A 14% win chance cannot keep up with only a 5 restored ratio trade. So let's bump that up to an 8 restored ratio trade. All right, so now you can see that we're making money. It wasn't a whole lot. It was only 18% to the portfolio over the course of 200 trades. But if we run it again, you can see next time we're almost doubling the portfolio. Marginal gain, marginal gain, marginal gain. So we're making money, which no matter what you're doing, if you're making money, if you're taking away more from the market than you're giving it, you're doing well. No matter if it's a 10% gain over 200 trades or if it's a 500% gain over 200 trades. What matters is you're walking away with more than you had. All right, because over the course of time, if nothing changes and your win chance is still the same and your average restored ratio is still the same, you might still be taking in marginal gains over the course of, say, a quarter. All right, but because after a period of time, maybe 2 to 3 years, your account is now worth $200,000, those marginal gains are $20K per quarter. You'll be bringing in $60,000 a year from marginal gains. I know right now because, some people's accounts might be sitting at $1,000, $100, $5,000. Those marginal gains, they can't conceptualize, all right, 2 to 3 years from now, if I continue doing this, those small gains comparative to what I'm making now will be absolutely massive. Now, obviously, if you can bump that up to a 9 restored ratio trade, you're going to see a massive difference, all right? Because when you extrapolate these small statistics over the course of a long period of time, it makes a huge difference. So within 200 trades, instead of just making 18% to the portfolio, we made, 140%. And it would go from 24,000 to 53,000, and then 53,000 to 127,000. So one R&R difference can mean the difference between 1,000 trades only, maybe 1xing, 2xing or 3xing the account, versus one R&R difference can mean the difference between doubling, tripling, quadrupling the account, 10xing the account over the course of the same amount of trades. So you don't want to skimp yourself on R&R. So that's the thing with my strategy. I might have a smaller win chance because I'm shooting for those high R&Rs. But because I'm going for those, it makes a massive difference. That's how you can see me. I take my portfolios from 1,000 to 10,000, 10,000 to 50,000. Because I'm patient, I wait for the setups that need to be taken, and then I milk them for everything they got. Kite, please explain, how will you make $21,000 with 1,500? So on on sushi, if sushi does get back up to say like $20, that is a 257 risk reward ratio trade. If I lose, I think I'm losing like $70 to $100. All right. So somewhere in between there, if you do 100 times 257, that comes out to 25,000. All right. So if I'm going a little bit below that, it's 21,000. We're already up to, we're almost 100% in profit. I'll flash it on screen real quick. I don't like to do that because it is against the TOS, but there you go. Proof of trade for anybody that's wondering. I got $1,300 worth of margin in it. And then the rest I'm waiting to get in on BTC. And that's at 7x leverage. So not a whole lot of leverage. And little update since we got most of TA done, a little bit of lesson. Dude, the last 2 days. So I've done Adderall in the past, but because it was such short supply, and if you're going to buy it from somebody that has a reputable source, like, you know, anything like that, you're going to be paying a high premium. So whenever I did come into it, I would usually just use it to focus on trading, like AKA reading, you know, trading in the zone, harmonic Elliott wave. But because this is a prescription and it's a reliable supply and everything like that, I know it doesn't look like it, but my room is tremendously cleaner. And, you know, I've gone to the mall, walked around, got exercise, you know, went to my parents' house, you know, took a shower, got up at a decent time. I feel like $1 million. And I can happily say that if things keep going this way, live streams are going to be very much more consistent than what they have been. I feel pretty fantastic. And, you know, whenever I've taken Adderall in the past, it was usually around, it was like a 30 milligram, 40 milligram XR. So with that being said, the dosage that I'm on right now is 5 milligrams in the morning, and then 5 milligrams around like, you know, 1 to 2 o'clock, depending on what time I wake up. And I haven't had any of the negative side effects, like, you know, clenching your jaw or anything like that. I'm very happy. And I was about to say another 0.5% will be 100% in profit on sushi. And already sushi is sitting at I'm using a 0.75% stop loss on sushi. So I'm using kind of like an in-between. I'm not using my typical 0.5%, and I'm not using a 1%. I'm using a 0.75%. Already from that peak just a couple minutes ago, or actually let me go down to a smaller time frame. Already at this peak, sushi is already sitting at a 17-18 restored ratio trade. So if I took profit right now, that is 2 trades already done. I smoke weed, so is it better? So it depends on what you're trying to achieve, because marijuana is a good coping mechanism for ADHD because it slows you down. All right. It makes you, slow. But the negative side effect of weed, I'm not saying for every single person, because this is not the case. All right. It affects everybody differently. But for me personally, it made me too slow to where I couldn't really formulate thoughts as easy, and it made me lazy. I didn't like what it was doing to me. Now, the one good thing about weed is that typically you can quit cold turkey no problem. Now, you might have a psychological addiction, and that might be an issue, but in terms of physical addiction, no. Adderall, on the other hand, it slows me down, makes me so that I can formulate thoughts a lot easier. Obviously, it's a stimulant, so it keeps me alert, and my focus is way better. And also social interactions. I know for some people, it's an indication if you're on a higher dosage than you should be, that you're more antisocial on ADHD medication. But for me, like, I found myself just talking to strangers, just having a good time. Like I saw a dude with a bunch of, like 6 dogs in his car, and, shouted to him. And I said he brought the whole family out today, and we had a little conversation. It's fantastic. Now, the only drawback to Adderall is obviously it's a chemical hook. So what I plan on doing is starting on my next refill. I'm going to be doing weekends on, weekends off. So like I'll be live Monday through Friday, hopefully, or at least Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then take the weekends off. So that way it hopefully kind of starves away that chemical hook. Or at least keep it as long as possible from getting to the point where it's an issue. I'll just, I'm going into this with a gigantic, what's the term I'm trying to use here? A lot of caution, because I've seen what prescription medication can do and how it can ruin lives firsthand. Early 2000s were definitely a time where a lot of homes were wrecked because of prescription medication. So I'm definitely being careful about it, but so far, so good. No negative side effects. I just feel good. I feel great. It's just that, like, growing up, my mom doesn't believe that ADD or ADHD was necessarily real. She just kind of thought that I was just an asshole kid. So I found coping mechanisms, like I would practice, if I had like a presentation the next day, I would have to like rehearse what I'm going to say 1,000 times. Otherwise, like I would get off track when I was actually doing it. I didn't do a single piece of homework since 5th grade, so I never had to really deal with that side of things. I got all C's and D's through school except for the classes that I absolutely enjoyed, which, I did well in math and I did well in computers, which is why I work with this. And obviously working from home, being a trader, having to keep track of multiple different coins, people with ADHD actually really don't need medication in order to do what we're doing here, because trading is a very ADHD friendly job. But when it came to like the business side of things with you guys, like, scheduling one-on-one sessions, keeping on track with the live streams, remembering to update the Discord group, stuff like that, I would fall behind on. And it wasn't because I don't care about you guys. This is, the other half of what I do. But those things were an absolute struggle to me. So because of that, I opted into the medication. What do you think of BTC? Is it the bottom? For right now, yes. With us completing an ABC structure here, all right, that definitely looks like it wants to be the bottom, because you can see right here, we have ABC prolonged A, ABC prolonged B, and then a short, a prolonged, but definitely a faster ABC C. And if you look at some of the other coins, they definitely worked out like that as well. It looks like ETH is just going to maintain its original lower low as an entry, which makes sense because I do think that ETH is going to run longer than BTC. So it kind of makes sense that BTC is at a much lower point versus its previous uptrend comparative to ETH. Kite, are you in a long? I'm in a long on sushi, but unfortunately I did miss the BTC entry. Because this happened so quickly. Like when I was setting up the live stream, it wicked down and then wicked back up. So I'm long on sushi with 3% risk, and I'm already 103% in profit. Lord Kite, is it time to panic? What do you mean? And one of the it's a negative side effect, but at the same time, for me personally, at the moment, it's a positive side effect. So one of the things that ADHD made a struggle with is my weight. For some people, it's different because they struggle to put on weight. For me, I struggle to keep off weight because since my brain lacks dopamine in order to make it work properly, I'm constantly drinking caffeine sodas, constantly snacking, ordering DoorDash just to have that dopamine rush of when I eat food. So negative/positive side effect is I'm really not hungry at all during the day. Obviously, I'm drinking my water, I'll have a soda or something. But, and I'll have like the bigger meal at the end of the night when the medicine starts wearing off. And that's exactly what I wanted anyways. I'm huge into intermittent fasting. And I've seen firsthand the positive benefits of it. So if this medicine can help me kind of get back on track with that as well, fantastic. So my plan is I want to lose about 30 pounds because right now I'm sitting at about 210. I want to be about 180. And then I want to start going on, walks/jogs. Some people will go, why don't you do it right now? One, because my resting heart rate is way too high. And it's not really diagnosed or confirmed, but I do have something weird with my heart. I think it's like STV or something, where like it will like trigger something and then my heart will go like speedo mode. So I want to get my resting heart rate down a little bit. And then also the weight, the impact on my knees and my ankle joints and stuff, just so it makes it easier when I do get into the actual physical part. But, I'll go to the mall and I'll walk around until like the rings on my Apple Watch are filled. I don't struggle with that at all. Please decrease 10 to 20% of your light intensity. Are you talking? Oh, you're talking about on the camera. Sorry, the sun came out a little bit more. I got my window open, like not open to like where there's fresh air, just because I have a air unit in there. But I typically don't keep the blinds open. I usually just supplement it by having all my hue lights on, which are still like, one of the best ways to like make me feel better, but like turning these all on. For research purposes, do you prefer your bacon deep fried or cooked in the oven? I don't think either. I mean, I guess you can consider it deep fried. I just like them cooked in a skillet with lots of like Crisco. I don't know if it's Crisco, but you know, like butter. Am I in any trades? I am currently waiting on BTC because I missed the smaller time frame entry right here because it happened so fast. But right now I'm currently long on sushi from $6.80. And currently I'm sitting at about a 22 restore ratio trade. I'm up $1,444. Feels good. What brand Hue lights you using? Philips Hue. They're expensive. Don't get me wrong. Like the actual LED strips are like $70. I got one under this desk, one under that desk, one in the corner, which I do want to get like a diffuser for it so that I don't have to actually just look at the LEDs. I got a bulb in the corner, and then I got two floodlights behind the couch, which, you know, when they're different colors, it kind of like morphs together. It's pretty cool. And then I got the nano leaves. And the nano leaves blow me away. They're really expensive. It's like $200 for like 6 to 9 of them. So I bought the original pack and I bought 2 extension packs, or maybe 3, I'm not sure. So I spent like almost, you know, $300 to $400 on those lights. But those can do colors that most things cannot do. Like that one can do an actual brown, which I know it's very obscure for me to say that, but it just, you can't really find like a, you know, a lamp or LEDs that can do brown. So that blew me away. Just that simple thing. $50th like, what do I win? You win a thank you. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Thank you for liking the video. ADA at value areas. We'll check out ADA. It looks like if ADA comes back above, I mean, you could do either or. I would preferably get back an ADA around like $1.50. You know, $1.49.2. That would look like a good area. ADA has had definitely one of the most prolonged corrections out of everything in the market. You can see right here we have A, B, C, A, and then we have, you know, fast B, and then we had A, B, C, C, and then we had an A, B, C, B, and then we had an A, B, C, C. So I'll mark all those out for you. You got A, B, C, and then you got, let's see, A, B. I'm trying to do this correctly. So I'm counting this as if it's like this, right here, boom, boom. But then within that you have A, B. Shoot. So the official level that you want to get back above is $1.70. That's when I think really things will start to pick up. But if you want an early entry, like I said, $1.49.2, not financial advice, just what I'm seeing on the chart. Do I consider myself an island boy? I'm an island boy, just trying to be, or just trying to make it. Dude, I don't even like go on TikTok that much anymore, and I still see those guys like on my Snapchat page and stuff. And just for a little bit more confluence, if we look at like sushi, for example, and we go to an indicator, I know, crazy indicators. And we go out to like a 12-hour. It hasn't crossed over yet, but you can see the momentum wave has been going to the upside for a decent period of time. If we look at the 8-hour, same thing, about to close to the upside. 4-hour just crossed over. And usually these double crosses, a 1, 2, and then 3, making kind of like a W, you can see that right here, usually start a pretty good uptrend. You're using MACD? What are in those meds? Now, like I told you guys, I don't use MACD on the smaller time frames anymore, but you know, like the 4, 8, 12-hour, I don't use them for entries, but it's just good to see. What's the next BTC entry I'm waiting for? Coming back above 55,180. I do want to see, like, not this go around. I don't think so, because I don't want to mess up the flow of what I got going. But I do want to possibly try something else. So what I'm thinking about doing is using the MACD in conjunction with ABCs. Basically, strictly the 12-hour and the daily. All right, doesn't mean that if we're in a downtrend, I won't find a possible bottom. If I do see an ABC, obviously, way to go. All right, but that being said, I do want to kind of prioritize whether or not I'm only taking longs or only taking shorts based off of whether or not the MACD is flipped to the upside or to the downside. I think that could be possibly something to look at. Like I said, not gonna be trying out anytime soon. Probably, you know, when we go into the bear market or something, when we got a lot more time to test out something like that. But something I thought about. Now, I have no doubt that we're probably going to see a nice pump all the way up until about $8.49. I wouldn't be surprised. One or two things are going to either happen. One, we're going to see a rejection there and then probably come back down and retest $7.67. Or we could get above it, you know, probably up to like maybe $9.27 and then come back down, retest it, probably be sitting there for a hot minute and then continue moving to the upside. The Secret Mindset just released a video about that, using MACD with ABCs. I don't know who that is. Are you talking about David? Because I know David, he's combined divergences with ABCs. And he's finding some good confluence with that. how do I plan to catch an ABC entry on BTC? I have a conditional set up. So if we come back above this line right here, 55,160. Hey, Kai, you able to show what fib level setting you have? So I draw my fibs backwards comparative to most people, because what that comes from and why I do that is because when I was into Elliott wave, you know, say a 1, a 2, all right, like that, in order to get the projection for wave 3, I have to have my 1.618 pointed to the upside. All right, so when I'm looking for my 1.618, obviously that switches where my 0.441 is. All right, so in terms of settings, this is what I got. So I got my fib levels based on log scale, which is one of the most important parts. And then I draw them in the direction the trend is going currently. All right, so if this is my ABC right here, I would pull them like that. I would pull from my A, which is right here, all the way to the beginning of my A. All right, so my A started from right here, and my A began right here. So then that gives me the 0.441 target of 62,521. Did I participate? Oh, hold on real quick. CA Slots, thank you very much for the donation, man. Can you look at Sheeb and tell us what you think? Okay. I'm just looking at some of the past price action, seeing if I can spot. No, not really. So far, it doesn't look like it's that good with ABCs. I see one right here. All right, you have A, B, C, and then B, and then we're in the C wave right now. You could have picked up an entry off of whatever that small number is. I'll highlight it on the screen. Or if we come back above this level. Over here, you really didn't have an ABC correction. You know, you can call this an ABC flat if you want to. All right. You had A, B, C. And then right here. And you can see the market, it does react to it as well. You can see once we put in that lower low, came back up and it retested it. Failed to get above it the first time, came back down, retested. You can see once we got back above that line, the market kind of, you know, retested. Once it held support, went to the upside. So, I mean, take it as you will. All right. I don't play coins like this anymore. Not really for me. You know, I had my little bit of fun with the couple of altcoins that we got our hands into at the back of the beginning of the bull run. But, I don't want to mess around with this anymore. And then Bufo said, did you ever participate in a talent show back in high school? No. I don't really have like a showable talent in terms of like, you know, music or anything like that. And, you know, my talent is being able to, you know, I think I'm pretty talented at conveying complicated information in a simplified way. That's why I think I'm really good at. So it's hard to do that in a talent show. Unless like I show up to the talent show. Let me explain to you theoretical physics real quick in a 15-minute segment to the point where you can understand how space-time works. Why do you also got the 0.441? It comes from Elliott wave. So typically, the way Elliott wave works is if you have, say, an uptrend, and that uptrend breaks into a downtrend, typically the downtrend wants to go between, it typically wants to go to the 0.382. But I found that, you know, taking profit before the target, right, is a lot better. Reason being is most people are looking for that exact number to be hit. So you always want to take profit before everybody else, because if someone else bigger than you with a couple $1 billion takes profit before that target is hit, you better bet we're not reaching it, right? And then on wave 3 to wave 4, typically we like to find support around the 0.618. But a lot of the times, because most people are looking for the 0.618 and we're in a leverage trading market, people will start taking longs here. But then, you know, if you want to call it market manipulation, the price will push down lower to, one, confuse people, because most people go, oh, price came back below the 1. That can't happen. That's against the rules. And then they completely get rid of that count because it's against the rules. And then it will find support, you know, around the 0.5, 0.441, maybe the 0.382, and it will continue moving on. A really good example of this was on Ethereum. I'll go back a little bit further. Trying to see right here. Okay. So back when the bull market first started, I started an ABC count. All right. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the top of my 1. Okay. So then I took the top and bottom and we target around the 0.382, 0.4. Now at the time I wasn't playing ABCs. I was playing local lows, which actually kind of worked to my advantage because you can see the AB set was all the way up here. I wouldn't have gotten back into my position until we were all the way back up here. All right, so I mean, it is what it is. So we found support around here. So this began my wave count. So now we can project the top of the 3 to be around 19,003. And then and this is what you can do. You can project ahead of time. So then if the top of the wave is at 19,003, you can see that the 0.618 was at 1,514. All right, did I say 19,000? 1903. All right, and then the top of the wave 5 would be around 2,746. All right, so you can see right here, 1, we went a little bit further than the 0.618, right? Because our target was here, and we went a little bit above that. And then on the way down, our target was only 1514. I'm live streaming. What's up? Yes.
A little bit later.
All right. But like I was saying, if you're in that mindset of it has to work out exactly how the rules say, you're going to get screwed. All right. So right here was our target. This was the top of the 1. All right. So we went all the way back down to the 0.441, 0.382 area. All right. As well as that, you can see, do you see it? Do you see it? A, B, C. All right. You would have gotten a pretty good entry for playing ABCs at the time. So not only are you going back below the 1, which breaks the rules, but you're also not finding support at the 0.618. So it just throws people for a loop. And that's something that, obviously I had to get used to as well. When a market switches more primarily towards leverage and kind of like a video game, we're no longer playing the traditional, you invest in a coin and, people get into it, get out of it, stuff like that. Instead, we're fighting each other, right? Because this has turned into more of a speculative asset, it's almost like playing poker, all the time. You are trying to get people to get stopped out and get liquidated, build liquidity in the market to push it higher, stuff like that. And obviously this stuff happens at much higher levels than what me and you are working at, right? It's not market manipulation. It's the game you signed up for. So don't cry about it. All right. You have to understand this. Otherwise, you're just being an idiot. So when people cry about market manipulation, this is what you signed up for. It's not manipulation. It is what it is. All right. So that's all. That's my little passionate speech about that. All right. And you can see the top of the 1.618 was at 2,746. We found a rejection before that. All right. And you can see that we extended over. All right. So when we were counting this, I believe at the time, the short-term target was 3,103. But I also had like kind of a sub count going right here off of this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. So this was the area that I took profit on everything. All right. So I took profit about like 3,400, 3,500. All right. And as well as that, around that same exact time, I took profit on BTC, and that's when BTC was sitting at about 55K. All right. So it worked out pretty incredible to call that top. Now, a lot of people kept going in the live stream and going, haha, you took profit at 3,500. It's all the way up to 4,000 now. How do you feel? I feel great. I got money in my pocket. And then when that drop came and everybody else was saying, nah, Bitcoin can't go down to 29K. I go, I'm not saying it's going to go down to 29K. I'm saying if it breaks this support level, it will. And what happened? We broke the support level. We instantly dropped down to 29K. All right. This is why I do the live streams more importantly than anything else. Obviously I would love to sit there and do just, 5-10 minute tutorial videos to have more people, have access to the information. But at the same time, understanding my thought process and how I think through the trades and what I'm projecting and thinking as maybe future price action and how I'm deciding things, all that happens in real time on the live streams. And it's invaluable for you to watch that information over a 5-10 minute tutorial. All right. Otherwise, you just don't get why I'm doing things. Do you have only one entry long if it goes above the B? At the moment, yes, but within the past like hour, no. All right. You can see right here on the smaller time frames, we have a downtrend that broke into an uptrend that broke into a downtrend. that put in a lower low. Now, if we go down to like the 1 minute chart, you can see this happened pretty quick. I got onto I started setting up the live stream like right here. And because I didn't have my charts open, I was setting up like the YouTube live stream and, messaging the Discord and everything like that. It wicked down and then wicked like all the way back up to 53K, 53,775. So by the time it gets back up to here, I can't enter. All right. It just doesn't make sense to do so. Because if my entry was supposed to be here, and that's where support is holding, all right, if I go and I set up an entry here and I set up an entry here, one entry has a 0.5, because that's typically what I'm used to doing, a 0.5% stop loss. And then the other entry, all right, if I used a 0.5% stop loss, it would be entering or getting stopped out pretty much at the support line. So if I wanted to have a safer stop loss and keep it where I think it should be, all right, it's not based off of a set level, obviously, but that being said, you can see a massive difference. If we come back up to, say, I don't know, 57K, that tiny difference between this entry and that entry cost me 100% of my profit. All right, meaning if I was risking $100, I would only make 600 here. If I was risking $100 here, I would make 1,200. I would make 100% more profit off of one little tiny detail. You can't sacrifice entries. And one little quick tidbit, if you guys have OCD like me, whenever you're setting up your ABC lines, if you hold control, it turns on the magnet so you can get the exact high or low. I don't think I have OCD like extreme case. It's just like, I like things to look neat, which is very ironic given the fact that most of the time my room is hella dirty. Don't do that. When was the last time you went hunting? Never. I've never been hunting in my life. I don't got anything against it. As long as it's within season and you're using what you kill. I think it's a good way to connect with nature. Which is very ironic. People go, a good way to connect with nature? You're killing stuff. Well, baby, that's nature. I don't know if you noticed, but that's nature. And go, well, but that was done with like spears. and bow and arrows, not with guns. All right, so you mean we can't make technological advancement? I think what humans forget, because we're so detached from nature, is that we are nature. You know, we look at a lot of the things that, now I'm not denying that some of the practices that the gigantic goo ball of humanity does aren't really the correct decisions. But what I think we forget is that we are nature, and that what, you know, if there is like an ultimate plan, what if the plan was for us to do the things that we were doing? Like I said, I don't agree with everything that we do, but I just think people, like it's almost like we humanity as a collective, we view ourselves in like a god complex, and that we have ultimate control. Oh, I have been fishing. I wouldn't necessarily like consider fishing hunting, but I guess it is. Same ordeal. But I've been fishing since I was a kid. It was on my granddad's old boat. I caught a lot of fish that day, though. What am I like? I call this an Adderall theory because I was on Adderall when I kind of like thought this up. But I was just kind of like thinking about the different religions, and that's where I kind of came up with what I think the Greeks were doing. So I think religion. I'm not saying this is what religion always is, but I think for the most part, I think religion is, because what we seem to do is we don't seem to use English class and what they teach us about literature with religion. We like keep them separate. So if you think about like personification and stuff like that, I think religion is personifying the human condition to break it down into addressable bits and pieces. So take, for example, like the biblical devil. All right, devil separated from God because he wanted to be God. And now he rules over hell. It's his domain. So if you think about it, right, from what my understanding is and what I've experienced, heaven is a singularity. There is no separate self. Everything is one. Very hippy dippy to say, but if you think about what we're doing here on Earth, it's temporarily becoming a separate ego, separating from God, and we as humanity collectively rule over an entire planet. We own a planet, pretty much, and we rule over it. So I think I don't know. It's kind of cool to think that maybe the devil is the personification of what being an animalistic human is. So instead of, going to church and beating yourself up, you personify the parts of yourself that you don't like, so that you can say, "Be gone, devil." I would like to think. Because like if Christianity was like, you suck, you're an animalistic human, you have bad tendencies, you lie, you cheat, you got vanity, you got gluttony and stuff like that, which it kind of does, but we always say that it's the devil's doing that we fall into those traps. Which I think the devil is just the personification of like the biology that the ego is stuck in. I'm watching too much alternate history shit for this talk right now. So that like led me into like what the Greeks are doing. I think the Greeks did a perfect job. Like if you're going to make a way of addressing the problems that you have as a biological being, having multiple gods to kind of call out makes more sense. Because instead of having just the devil, which encapsulates everything about being an animalistic human, you have like Zeus, who, you know, likes to go out on the weekends and get his strong dirty. You got, you know, Aphrodite, vanity. You know, you got a whole bunch of, you know, you got different gods. They got their pros and cons, because that's what being a human is. There's a pro and con to everything about your personality type. So like CIA, they kind of teach people how to break people down into personality types. You got INTP, which they made it a little bit more complicated, but I think the Greeks had that as well. They go, oh, you're more like Aphrodite. Like they had an INTP where they would just relate to a certain god. All right, that's enough of that. Have I ever physically milked a cow? No. This channel has been sponsored by Caroline. No, it hasn't. I don't know what you meant by that. If you're trying to be like a bot, I don't like that. Or if I just don't know what Caroline is. Hi, it's me, Dizzy. What's going on, Dizzy? How you doing, man? Have you checked out Aave? No, I have not. It's actually a good coin to check out. We used to play that a lot more often, but... You talking about off of this entry right here? Now, stuff like this, I don't... Okay. Abe looks weird. Abe looks like it might turn out to be an ABC flat correction. We can see you got an ABC going to the downside, which still would have been the better entry to be holding on to right now if you were still holding on to it. But then we got an ABC to the upside, and that's our B. So we got ABCA, ABCB, and then we got A, B, C, C. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, Austin, I thought the B can't come above the A. All right. With these low cap altcoins, if something like this happens out of the ordinary, I wouldn't necessarily say that that's not our B. All right. But on, you know, BTC, people were trying to say that this was the B. All right. On something like Bitcoin, you very rarely see something out of the ordinary. I think like the closest thing to BTC that we saw something out of the ordinary that really shouldn't be counted into the charts was LTC. When, you know, the news about, them partnering with Walmart, which turned out to be fake, you know, this gigantic wick to the upside. Yeah, you don't count stuff like that. So, I mean, we could say that this was an A and this was a B and this was a C. All right. Yeah, I mean, you would have got a great entry off of that if you still played it. But that being said, nah, this was our A, this was our B, this was our C. And you can see the market reacted appropriately. Had the dump down, came below that line, came back up to retest it, and then we fell to the downside. During that period of time, we created an A, created a B, created a C. And you can see right here, we have A, B, C as well within the C wave. So you could have gotten an entry here or got an entry here. Either or. We're up $1,500 now on sushi. Thoughts on David Tech getting a 40% win rate with your strategy? So that was the first video he put out, and I don't know exactly how he had everything set up, so I really can't comment on that. He was getting around like a 36% win chance, which is absolutely phenomenal. But in the recent testing that he sent me, which was over the course of like 800 trades, he was only seeing about a 12 to 15% win ratio, which is what I tell you guys all the time. I'd say about 15 to 20%. Me personally, back in August, even with losing the amount of times that we did, I still had a 22% win ratio. So, I mean, from me personally, being the origin point for most people where this strategy came from, I've been using it probably the longest. And it might be that I suck. I don't think I do. But I can only honestly say that the most that you'll probably ever get is about 22, maybe 25%. It's all depending on what the market's throwing your way and what coins you're playing. If you're playing BTC, obviously going to have a higher win ratio than, say, I don't know, Uni, Sol. I'm going to get this off my screen because some people might think that that's some way involved with what I'm doing with this trade. That guy, do you only do swing trades? For the most part, that's where the money's at. I mean, everybody and their mother wants to be a scalp trader. I mean, because most of the time it comes from impatience. Like, people want quick money, and they think that if they make trade after trade after trade and they make more trades, somehow they're going to compound their account faster. And as well as that, you know, I think scalp trading is good for one reason, is you're going to get fucking destroyed. You're going to get demolished. All right. Especially if you're just starting out, which, yes, it does suck. I don't wish anybody to lose money, especially because most of the time when people lose money, they're losing more than they're supposed to. But the one good thing that comes out of that is hopefully you're learning a lot of lessons of what not to do. And I mean, swing trading to me, I'm probably making more money than some scalp traders. I'm not going to say all scalp traders, because there's exceptional scalp traders out there that can keep track of everything down to the last second and make proper decisions because of that. But most people can't. So for me, getting an entry and sitting in a successful trade for multiple weeks is a lot less stress and a lot better feeling than constantly entering and exiting trades all the time, getting stopped out. It just, to me, doesn't make sense. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. How long do you typically hold your swing trades? A week, 2 weeks. Whatever the market calls for. Sometimes it's a flash dump and I, get my profit overnight. Like on BTC, for example. All right. I took a short trade from right here. And so we had, I would say, the larger ABC. We had A, we had B, and we had C. So I was watching the larger structure, all right? and I'm using the smaller time frames to get an entry to play the larger structure. So that being said, I think I had it broke up a little bit differently than this. I think I was using this as my A, this is my B, and this is my C. So during the first period of time, actually, no, I didn't have it set up like that. I had it set up A, B, C. That's what I had. So I took so if we're going to have a larger structure, have a pullback, usually it's going to come in an ABC. The first A is going to hit the 0.441 of the C wave, and then the second, the C is going to hit the 0.441 of the A wave. So when I entered that trade, I entered and then I set 43,000 as my target. All right. I didn't put the exact 441 because not in a million years did I think I was going to wake up the next morning and be in, have my profit taken. So I entered, just for a frame of reference. All right. I entered pretty much at the exact top, and then I got out at 43K, which was like the exact bottom. And then after that, we waited for the next setup. I don't think we took that long, but I took this short right here on the next leg down, and then I caught the long trade. As long as we came back above this line, I have to take the trade. It doesn't matter if I think it's going to go back down further towards the 0.441. If we have an A, if we have a B, if we have a C, and we are coming back above the A, I have to get back in that trade. I'm so sorry. There's someone. I don't know if my noise reduction is doing a good enough job on that, but someone's leaf blowing outside right now. I don't know what's up with everybody and their mother typing all caps. If you were to plot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Elliott waves and get target, I'm not going to do that. It's not worth my time. I'm not doing Elliott waves anymore. I'm not trying to project the exact number that the market's going to top out at. I'm getting in at a bottom where I see things turning around, and I'm playing it by ear. I'm letting the market show me where it would like to top out. I don't think there's really much use in trying to call the exact number anymore. It just doesn't make sense to me. What's the light behind my head? Are you talking about the one over there? Or are you talking about that one? How much am I paying on leverage fees for those long trades? Not a whole lot. Like if I get stopped out, I lose about $70, and then because of the fees, I'm actually realistically losing about 80 to 85. And obviously you have the funding, but not in a million years is funding ever going to eat enough away from your trade to not make it worth it. like with the margin I have, all right. Let's see. If funding stays around 0.02%, that's only it's only about $8 a day. I'll be paying $8 a day for what? 3 weeks maximum. So if I get up to my target, you know, or what I think it could possibly do, I'll make anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000. So, $60 a week to hold that trade is absolutely nothing compared to what I'm going to make. A lot of people lose their shit about funding and fees. Never once have I had a problem with it. Never once. Funding is the bank. So traditionally, let's say you're playing a traditional market like silver. All right, if you want to short silver, you can't go on to Bybit and short silver. What you would have to do is say silver is sitting at $100 and you have 10 silver coins and you think silver is going to drop to $50. All right, losing 50%. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to have your 10 coins. You're going to go to the bank and you're going to go, hey, bank, can we write up a loan agreement for 40 silver coins? So the bank is going to give you those silver coins at interest. All right. And you're going to take your 10 silver coins and you're going to take the bank's 10 silver coins. All right. So now you have, you have 10, bank house 40. So now you have 50 silver coins. All right. So you sell all 50 silver coins at $100 and then the price goes down to $50. So now you can buy back 50% more than you had before. Actually, well, let's see. If you sold 50 at 100, that's 5,000. So yeah, actually no, 100% more. So you'll be able to buy back 100 silver coins. All right, so now you give the bank their 40 plus maybe like another 2, 3, 4 coins for interest, and then you pocket the rest. So what funding is, instead of working with a traditional bank where you have to go write up a loan agreement and the bank is obviously going to screw you, you are the bank. All right, if you're shorting and the funding rate is positive, that means there's more people needing money for longs than there is people needing money for shorts. So you are giving them your shares, basically setting up a loan agreement. So if you are shorting and the funding is positive, you're getting paid funding because you are the bank collecting interest on your loan. If the funding is positive and you are longing, you are paying the bank interest on your loan in real time. And it can flip to the point where longs are giving the loans to shorts. It's all depending on what the market needs at the time. I don't think Elliott Wave is a joke. What I think is a joke is people look at the rules for Elliott Wave and they take it to heart. They go, it has to work like this. It has to go to this number. It has to find support before this level. Markets don't work like that. Markets don't care what your rules are. Now, what I've found is Elliott Wave is a very, very good way of finding out how to learn market structure and what to look for on how to position yourself. But like I just said, people take it overboard and they take it to heart. They think everything has to work exactly how the book says. That's why I don't like Elliott Wave. That's why I recommend the book A Case for Modification of R and Elliott's Impulse Wave Structure. TA isn't BS. All right. Let me preference that. People that say that it is going to hit this number no matter what, and they show a whole bunch of charts and everything like that to show that, that's BS, right? What TA actually is what I show on my screen, right? I'll have like maybe a projected target, but I'm not really, I'm not expecting that target to be said and done. That's the top of the market. Instead, I'm showing you how to work with the market, how to identify points in the market. That it doesn't mean that this position that I'm taking along has to work out because, oh, that's a long setup. All TA is how to use simple mathematics in order to equal a profitable account. That's all it is. All right. So the way that you do that is by having a structure that allows you to create if, this, and that statements, basically meaning it is either true or it is false. I'm either in a trade or I'm out of a trade. All right. That's the first thing. No matter how you do that, it could be Elliott Wave, it could be ABCs, it could be Market Cipher, it could be stochastics, it can be MACD, it could be anything. You have to have a true or false. This is when I get into a trade. This is where I get out of a trade if it's going wrong, or when I get out of a trade if it's going right. And then upon that, after using that strategy for a period of time, you're going to come out with a win ratio. All right. How many times are you winning versus losing? All right. Now, when you do win, what is the average risk reward ratio that you're walking away with? All right. So you might walk away with a 20. You might walk away with a 4. All right. But maybe out of all the times that you've taken profit, the average is 8 to 9. All right. So if your win-loss ratio versus what you're bringing in when you do win works out, you're good to go. So TA isn't about understanding where the market is going to go definitively. It's about setting yourself up in advantageous positions where in the past, it does tend to work out like that. Not every time, but a majority of the time. I know you said unless you know what you're doing, but I want to preference that. But we've been streaming for about an hour and 43 minutes so far. Just wanted to hop on, show you guys how things are going. And I didn't expect them to pop so quickly, but hey, we're sitting in some fat profit right now. And, at the moment, with everything sitting in an ABC completed structure, whether it's the macro one or just a minute on the C working to get towards back above the major A, everything looks good to go. Like I said, my ego prediction, what me as a person thinks is, combined with the TA, obviously, within the next couple of days, I think we'll be far gone from some of these bottoms, unless we go back down and put another lower low. Doesn't matter. All right. And I do think the first 2.5 weeks of December are going to be extremely bullish. And personally, I do think that this next wave to the upside, whatever it chooses to be, is probably going to be the final top. Like I said, I think it might get up to, 75, 80K, start to have a pullback, slow down, and then we'll, might have one more push to the upside on the smaller time frames. Like I said, I think 85K for me is what my final target will be. Like I said, I have no doubt if there's enough euphoria in the market, we can carry on to maybe early January and maybe see 6-digit numbers. Doesn't matter to me. I'm taking profit at 85K. Now, given that fact, let's say that we get up to 75K and we form an ABC top. I'm going to proceed with some extreme caution, all right? Because that's what we do here. But if we ever do reach 85K, That's where I'm calling it quits. All the money that has been accumulated and expanded upon ever since $3,000 is definitely going to be out of the market. Like I said, I'll still have money in the market. I'll still be trading. I'll still be taking shorts, still be taking longs. I'll be here through the entire bear market. And I suggest you do too. All right, if this was your first go with crypto, where you really got involved with the market and maybe started looking at it from this type of experience, you got a lot of time. All right, once that bear market hits, the bear market is your opportunity. The bull market's not your opportunity. All right. Because by the time you really realize what's happening, you're already maybe halfway into the bull market. Yeah, there's still some good gains to be had, but the real money is made on the way down and then expanded upon on the way back up to retest. All right. Because if you're just learning how to trade or getting into the market, I really do suggest you stay in it. Don't leave when things start going back down to 40K. Once we've hit 80, stay in the market, keep trading. If you're not having a good time, reduce your risk or use a testnet account, but stay in the freaking market. If you want to make money with this, that's the only way you're going to do it. It took me 2.5 years to really become adept at trading. Obviously, I got lucky sometimes. I made, good trades here and there, but to really have it to the point where like I can consistently rely on taking money from the market took me like 2 years. All right. And that was starting from September 2019. No, it was down here. I got into the market around this region right here. Now, in terms of like trading, TA, indicators and stuff like that, I've been in the market ever since $200. But that's when I really started to pick up steam. And then it wasn't until like right here where I developed the risk reward calculator. And it wasn't until like right here that I really like started playing a more if this and that type statement. Around this region right here, I was primarily using Gonfans and Market Cipher. Had varying success with it, but it wasn't stable. It wasn't something I could rely on. So once I got to this level, that's when I started the first $100 portfolio. That's when I started to not mainly focus on indicators, but more if this and that statements based off of SR. And then obviously as we got more towards here, still using that if this and that statement. And then as we got into the bull market, started primarily using local lows, local highs, because at that time I was mainly focusing on like trend shifts rather than minute movements. And that helped a lot. And then, Elliott wave started to take a big toll. And then from here, transitioned from Elliott wave into the ABC method. And so far, like I don't see, besides like maybe in the future, trying to add confluence with something like the MACD indicator, I don't really see me moving away from the ABC strategy. It's too profitable for what it is. And like I said, I don't think it's the most profitable strategy in the world. I mean, if you go look at David Tech's channel, from all the ones that he's tested from the major YouTubers, it is. Like, that's not something that I gloat about just because I think. He's shown the statistics. Even with only the 12% profitable, he was still making 100 to 200% to his account, which comparative to like Jason Casper, I don't know, man. Pretty insane difference. So I don't think I'll be moving away from it anytime soon. All right, guys, we're at the 1 hour and 50 mark. I'll see you guys tomorrow. If if we have a major pop to the upside, obviously I'll get on and celebrate with you guys. And I will more than likely have the motivation to. But if the day is relatively uninteresting, I don't really think there's much need for input. But yeah, in terms of the schedule for the streams going forward, around early December, I will be kind of tied up because I'm gonna be spending time with my dad. I'm gonna be bringing him down to my house and having him here for about a week and a half. So I probably will hop on live stream during that period of time, but it definitely won't be like an every day or every other day thing. It might be like once or twice within that week and a half time frame. But in terms of like going forward, I do plan on being Monday, Wednesday, Friday for sure. If the market's interesting or, I just feel like talking that day, I'll be on Tuesday and Thursday as well. But once we get more towards that type of schedule, I do think I'll be taking the weekends off. All right, guys. Brutus, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Alex, already? What are you talking about, man? We've been streaming for 2 hours. Where you been? Awkward eye time. Hell yeah, it is. Take care, buddy. Thank you for the insights. As always. DJ Walker, later, bro. See you, man. Chris, see you as well. Adderall rilling. See you tomorrow. Rodrigo, you know what it is. All right, guys. Awkward eye time. Intermission screen.